I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me with what I said about the Hocus Pocus 2 movie. I'm going to tell you why I don't believe in witchcraft. Now, once upon a time, when I first read the Bible, I used to think, well, that was just man being scared of what he can't understand. Didn't do witchcraft. There was a time in my life where I was so lost. I almost did. I almost did because I was so lost, but I didn't. Never have. Never have. But I know that witchcraft is not cool with God because I'm going to tell you why. A lot of it can just be put out there to fuck with your head. You know, a lot of it can be these fallen angels putting that shit out here to, you know, give you all kinds of things to put worship in that aren't actually anything to worship. Nothing but evil. Not to mention, a lot of people use witchcraft for evil. And they will put spells and hexes on people they don't like for the most fucked up, vile reasons. Okay? I've met my God. I have met him. When it comes to these false gods, have you met your false god? Or have you met what you consider your God? No, really, you need to answer this question. Because if you haven't, then where's your validation? Now, I can say that I met God. And people can say, well, prove it. Sorry, honey. I put forth that effort to find the truth. If you actually want the truth, then you'll find it. It's not my job to feed you like you're a baby with shit that you are well old enough to go and find on your own. Anybody can find the truth. When it comes to you adults who want to sit here and be cocky and say, well, you can't prove it to me. You're damn right I can't, and I'm glad that I can't, because if I could, it would just make it fucking easy for you and you'd be ungrateful when you got it. Wouldn't you? You have to put forth the effort to actually be in the presence of God. And that is seeking the truth and wanting the truth ferociously. I'm not going to sit here and be manipulated by this world and just put my belief in this and that or whatever and choose whatever false god like I'm playing Pokemon. I choose you looking ass, and just put my worship in some made up bullshit that can't even be validated and has only been passed down. Okay? Right before my awakening, I threw away everything I had ever known of God, about God, anything. Because I wanted to completely start over and only hear from God directly. He validated the Bible. He validated Christ. I met Christ, and then I met the Father. Christ is the Son of God. We are adopted sons and daughters. You understand? We are adopted through Christ. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father except through him. God has spoken to me with a lightning strike above my head. Now people would say, well, you sure you're not crazy? But then they'll hypocritically go to church next Sunday and, you know, preach on John the Baptist who had visions and shit. And they'll take that seriously. But when it comes to people having shit happen these days, it's, oh, you're fucking schizophrenic. Oh, you're fucking crazy. Are you fucking serious? Have you lost your batshit fucking rabbit-ass mind? What? Are you serious? I'm sorry, excuse the language. I'm not going to put any censors on the truth. I'm not going to blur the lines for you, sorry. The truth is the only thing I worship, which is God. And when I approached God, I knew there's evil in this world. And I knew about narcissism because I did my research. It was the only thing I had there for me. And the only coping mechanism I have of knowing I wasn't alone and I wasn't crazy. And I was being treated like shit when I did nothing fucking wrong and everybody was being manipulated and thinking these horrible things about me that weren't real. Now I have forgiven, so I'm not going to hold that against anybody. Because not only is it unhappy for me, but just because I've forgiven doesn't mean I'm motherfucking stupid. I can forgive, but I won't forget. And I can not forget without holding a grudge. That's the whole point of the process, honey. To be able to forget the anger and rage, but not forget what that person is capable of. Forgive them. Have peace of mind. But don't remember what they're, or don't forget what they're capable of. You see, do you see, this flesh is sin. And Satan can try to harass you through it all the time. He just tried to mess up my words. Oh, you're crazy. well, why are you preaching on John the Baptist and Ezekiel and Elijah and Jacob and, you know, all these people who had visions and saw God? But when it comes to people having experiences in real life, you think they're crazy. Oh, shit. Looks like we got a hypocrite. Stop. First of all, narcissism. I think that's where evil manifests. And when somebody is a horrible person, you have to remember, it's not who they're truly meant to be. And they're being harassed by evil just like the rest of us. But you better remember what they're capable of. I think anybody can be changed and healed through Christ. But doctors would love to tell you narcissists will never change. Well, I believe they can change through Christ. But I'm going to let that be done by their own doing and on their own time. I'm not going to waste my time trying to change someone. Sorry. Never have I ever. All I wanted was some respect. And I wanted the same love I had given. Because why is it expecting so much to expect a little bit of respect when you give respect? Don't you expect it back? But this world will tell you, you're expecting too much. Really. They will tell you you're expecting too much. Because if you can be somebody who respects people and treats people really good, then you're expecting too much to expect it back. I understand that a little better now. But before, it really just blew me out of the fucking water because I never thought of people thinking of it like that. And I never thought of it in the way that, how can I expect people to be just like me? Not only is that fucking rude, but everybody's different. You know? But at the same time, it's common sense to get to respect people and be kind to them. You gotta be fucking kidding me. And I'm not talking about being a people pleaser and licking ass. I'm talking about just being a decent human being. Jeez, man. It's insane. But when it comes to the God I worship, I have met him. When it comes to witchcraft, again, those are just things passed down from one person to the next. Just like these false gods. Okay? You can say that about the Bible as much as you want. I felt the same. So I approached God directly and asked for the truth untouched by man. He gave it to me. He validated the Bible. I met him and met Christ. Can't you really? And it's not even just my own perception of God. Everyone who's ever met God says the same kind of things. It was terrifying. Terrifying. But it was the most peaceful and loving experience they've ever had. Those two combined, plus feeling how holy God is, but how terrifying he is at the same time. Ooh. Anybody who has that happen has changed forever. And that happened to me before I died. Most of those experiences are people who die and come back to life. Which is ironic, because I had a spiritual death for 3.5 days, but I didn't actually die. But oh, I felt like the Walking Dead. I felt horrible. Like I was forced to live in the anguish and agony of death for 3.5 days, but walk like I wasn't even there. And it looked like I was fine, but I wasn't. That was like hell on earth. And before it, I was already in hell on earth because of the fucking shit I was going through and being put through. But when it comes to witchcraft and things like that, I don't agree with it anymore. I don't think it's just man being scared of what he can't understand. Because for us to be so small, this universe be so big, and God be even bigger, and him being capable of creating all things, for us to think or even have the audacity that it's necessary for us to do certain shit, when really we're doing shit to have our way. That's what witchcraft basically is. Doing shit to have your way. Because that's the way you think it should be. It's all based on one person's perception. That's what it is. And I think that's bullshit. Because I'm not about to fucking sit here and say that I know what's best when I have met the God of creation. This is not a game. And I'm not going to play games with shit that I have barely any understanding of. Because most of my existence right now is in the carnal. But my soul denies this carnality and opens up to spirituality only through God, because God's not going to lie to me and he won't lead me astray. And I'm not going to put my motherfucking trust in this, that. Why I can't even talk. I'm getting stressed the fuck out. Even just, I get so worked up because the truth is so obvious. Why not seek it? But I'm not going to put my trust in this, that, or the other just because somebody says I should. A lot of people feel that way about God. Well, if you want to know the truth, then why don't you approach God? You at least ought to do it respectfully. Because if you aren't sure if he exists, then you probably aren't sure, you know, if you're wrong or not. So at the least, you know, the least you can do is approach him with some respect. That's what you should do, and you'll be glad you did. Let it be known who you're speaking to. Narcissism is real. I've seen it in my fucking very own life. The person who beat the shit out of me for 5 days, held me captive, burned me, raped me, sodomized me, beat me, was a serious narcissist. Narcissism is real. What do narcissists do? They try to pretend they're people they're not. They have everybody thinking they're such good people when they're really not. And I thought, that sounds like Satan. Satan would surely do that. If I'm going to approach God, maybe I might make sure to make it obvious who I'm speaking to. So anything posing as God no longer has a right to be there. And I said I was speaking to the Lord of the highest, whitest, brightest, purest light, grounded in pure love and pure truth. Only God is completely pure. Only God is pure truth. Only God is pure love. I'm speaking to the Lord of the highest, whitest, brightest, purest light, grounded in pure love and pure truth. Satan's only half truth. So he had to get his punk ass to stepping. Sorry. No. I don't fucking think so. When you've been betrayed enough, really all it does is train you on what the fuck not to put your worship in. So thank you, world. I appreciate the betrayal. You led me right to God with it. Thank you. Seek for the truth. I don't agree with witchcraft, but I'm not going to hate on you if you do it. We are told to love one another as Jesus loved us. Now, you're not supposed to mix your yoke with an unbeliever. I would never. And I'm abstinent anyway. I don't want to marry a man. I am in love with God and not in a... It's surf. Nothing sexual about it. I have left all that in the past. It's like I moved past it. That doesn't even exist. And the love I have for God, it is so beyond it. So much higher. I can't describe it. But when it comes to unbelievers, I'm not going to sit here and be buddy-buddy with them. But I won't be mean to them and disrespect them and shit on them and just be rude to them. If we're not even supposed to say anything derailing about Satan or to Satan, then surely we're not supposed to go around disrespecting unbelievers. Granted, if they're going to try to slip one by you and get you to trick, you know, try to trick you or... you know, try to get you to worship something that is not God. You know, you just never know. Because if they don't believe in God, then what do they believe in? And, you know, a lot of people, they just don't care anymore. But there's a lot of people who have been hurt and betrayed heinously, and they did nothing to anybody. And because of that, they found God. And I think those people were meant to have to go through those sufferings because it was going to bring them closer to God. In the same way that Christ went through that suffering and brought him closer to us. A collision of him and us. We are chosen. Everyone is chosen. Everyone is called, but not everybody answers. Everyone's had a right and a chance to come into the family of God. And unless it is still people on this earth who haven't heard the gospel, which I'm sure there is, which I'm going to put it completely in God. I'm going to pray for God to let the truth be placed in them. I know God can place the gospel within their souls without anybody needing to preach it. And for instance, witchcraft. I'm not about to act like or think that any part of creation needs my fucking assistance in anything when all creation already existed before I was even born. So where the fuck do I get off thinking it is necessary for me to do some kind of incantation or spell to fucking do something that I think needs to be done? Who am I to say it needs to be done? Even if it only makes sense for it to be done. There's a bigger picture to everything, man. A much bigger picture. It's not just about that one situation. And I know sometimes it's really hard to accept that. Sometimes it's just fucking bullshit that somebody even has to suffer. And maybe you want to heal them. But if it's not through God, you're doing shit through the hands of something that you can't even validate as holy. Have you sought out the truth so ferociously you've had a spiritual experience that changed you for the rest of your life? Or have you just thought you had it all figured out already? There's a lot of people who get into witchcraft, they think they just have it all figured the fuck out already. And it's scary as fuck. Because we don't want them to burn. We want them to be saved. We don't want them to be hurt. We don't want to leave them behind. And for those who get left behind when the rapture happens, it's never that we wanted to leave you behind. It's that we didn't want to. That's why we never were quiet. Ever. We don't want any of you to burn. It's really sickening to think there's so many people who just don't even consider, maybe I don't have it all figured out. Maybe I should seek the truth a little harder just to make sure. It's scary. It's really scary. God bless you all. Maranatha. I don't believe in witchcraft. Not at all. The idea of it is horseshit to me. Because I trust God and everything He does. He is capable of all things, and with Him nothing is impossible. I have met Him. I can put it on my children. I have met Him. I have met Him and His Son. The lightnings from the thunderstorms above have even declared He was in this house. And above me. Please seek the truth. Like never before, seek the truth. Don't expect somebody to bring it to you. It's not my job to prove my story to you. I don't have to, because I know it's real. And no matter what I was to bring to you, it wouldn't be good enough. Do you know why? Because it's not your story. And because it's not your story, it's not going to affect you the same. It's not going to affect you in the same way your story would. So bring the truth into your story so it can make a difference, rather than demanding others to make theirs good enough for you. God bless you. Maranatha.